that little person on the side that understands music, should I say, how to add a little bit, take away, or whatever it may be, and put you on the right direction.
Yeah, and that's part of the beauty of his genius. He is not just a phenomenal musician, guitar, mandolin, mandola, but he has over 700 album credits of his own, and so he's played with some heavyweights, and so he's really a musicologist, right? He went to the New England Conservatory of Music and has a degree in jazz performance. And was playing. He has older brothers, so he started playing guitar when he was like 6 or 7 years old, and his knowledge of music is unbelievably vast. And so he draws upon these things and will give you input and say, yeah, that's okay, but maybe you should try this. And it's what he suggests and the way he suggests. He's always positive, and I'm honored to call him my friend. And it was the privilege of my musical career to work with him.
All right, let's do that right now. Blues for Casey. Thank you. We'll be right back.
I wake up every morning and I put on my blue suit. I ride the bus into downtown. It takes a local route. I get off at the final stop and walk the last half mile. I try to wear a happy face. I try to force a smile. I'm working at a house on Pennsylvania Avenue. To some it might seem fun, but I just feel so damn abused. I sit down at my desk and try to act not so surprised. It's harder than you think it is because of all the lies. It might be yes, it might be no. It's mostly we don't know. It makes no sense, present tense, and proves you never know. Wind it blows, a rooster crows, makes the morning news. I'd rather not, 'cause now I've got working at the White House Blues. Well, it's just a job, it's not the mob. Each day I tell my wife. She says that I can quit, you know. You've only got one life. I love the life I used to live, working for the man. But this new crew and his family too feel like the Clampett clan. I want to work and do my part to make this idea great. But 4 whole years and untold fears simply cannot take it. I never thought I'd go to work each day and hope I fail. I never thought I'd go to work and end up locked in jail. It might be yes, it might be no. It's mostly we don't house blues.
Oh, that is cool, my friend. I love that banjo and that White House blues, and that is Woody Guthrie, and it's got that old school folk Vietnam era. We got to do something about this stuff, right, my friend? Thank you, JP.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's exactly it. That was kind of that's my protest song, so to speak. And I thought it would be kind of fun to do it. The whole CD is full band, but there are 2 songs that are full acoustic band. The first 3 are all electric band, and it translated real nicely into that format with the mandolin and the dobro and the harmonica, and kind of like somebody reviewed it and said it's got a real old time jug band feel, which that's definitely part of where I'm coming from, is that early 20th century Memphis street musician type of a thing, like kind of down at home, and we're just singing about stuff we know about, and this is the way we play.
In that instrument that Kevin Berry, I was reading the bio stuff you got here, that dobro, is that what he's playing? That's kind of like a mandolin? Is that what that sound is?
No, it's actually technically called a resonator guitar.
Okay.
It's commonly called a dobro, but dobro was just a brand of resonator guitar, and it's an instrument. You can play them. They have round necks or square necks, and Kevin was playing a square neck on his lap, like the bluegrass guys played, like Jerry Douglas and Mike Aldridge, and that style of music. It's basically it's a lap style guitar. It was they were invented in the 1920s. And it was a Hawaiian musician in the early 1900s that first started playing like that, and it became this whole style of playing, and is obviously real popular in bluegrass and country music today. And Kevin is an excellent player, and I am pretty sure that 20 years ago I sold Kevin his first lap style guitar when we were working for another band together. And I got him into it. Now he's a monster player. I could be wrong, but I think I sold him his first electric lap steel, and he's a giant in the industry and the go-to lap style teacher in the Boston area.
And how great is that, JP, for you and all your friends for a highway cruise to get together and make this now and be able to celebrate it today? Your release was last week. Momentum is going to keep going on the Roots Music Report and the charts and everybody out there. Again, yes, you can hear it at Magoo, the interview, but CD Baby, we were talking off air about the Spotify and the online streaming and all that for the artist, and yeah, you got to get out there and buy the things for everybody. At least I can
Right.
You have to listen to me to hear the. Not always, but you know what I'm saying. Everything out there is promote you guys. That's what I do this show for, and to buy the stuff for everybody.
And that's great, and I'm very grateful that you and other people are out there doing this, because, like I mentioned earlier, I have no misconceptions of what this is going to do. This is more than a hobby, a little less than a full-time job for me.
Yeah.
And I do it because I love the music and I want to keep the music alive. And your show and other programs like it help get the music out to people that are looking for it. I have plenty of friends who have sent me emails and texts that listen to podcasts and internet radio shows and independent radio show, and they say, "Hey man, I just heard your song." I had a friend of mine actually shoot me a video on his phone and email it of he lives in New Orleans, and was being played on a local blues station down there, and he emailed me the front of the radio in his car and the music playing in the background. And there are people out there, and it's guys like you that help connect musicians like me to the people who want to hear this music.
Amen, JP. And I was telling you off air that half the fun for me is to figure this thing out, because this is all free. There's no income and pay out actually for the fees, but that's not the point. I'm learning things and growing and able to do tools. I took this to Nashville, and I streamed my friend Jeremy Parsons at the Swinging Door Saloon live. Magoo goes live. This is live right now. As he was playing, I'm streaming him live like a radio station. That's the kick I get, you know. And I tell you,
that's cool.
Yeah, those kind of things that I get because of your music, and then promote this out to everybody. So it's kind of like that pirate radio a little bit, you know, that one movie where they're in the...
Oh, yeah, that was a great movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, that's how I feel like, because yourself and myself, we grew up in that FM radio days, you know what I mean? The progressive radio.
Oh, yeah.
We're playing this deep song at midnight, and this is kind of what I'm trying to get at. We're trying to do for you, and then, you know, for yourself, too, and your friends, and... You know, and again, I was saying, a lot of the independent guys on my end, it's somewhat of the equipment end, and it's advertising. I don't even know how they get any income from that. Me, I just love the karma when it comes from talking to people like you and hearing your stories. That's what makes my show rock.
Well, that's great, and I can, just speaking for myself, I love talking about music, period, especially my music and American music and American roots music, blues, rock, bluegrass, country, whatever you want to call it. So it's fun for me too. So once again, thanks for doing it for all of us.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And let's get into the Whiskey for Blood. Then we got one last tune we need to crank a little bit. And again, you have some previous releases that you go back to too. Was it 2007? Let me also talk about some of the other stuff that you've had out there for everybody. 2007, you also released Cold Steel Blues, the album.
Yeah, that was my first solo release.
And then 2010, you had the Bottle of Blues.
Yes,
booze,
blues,
almost.
yes.
Yeah, and congratulations. You also Blues Society Battle of the Band solo category in 2010, and the International Blues Challenge. Now that is a cool deal. I got to talk to Bridget Purdy down there, and Lawrence Lebo also live. Because that whole network that you guys have with Betsy Brown, what a great team that you have with them, eh?
Yeah, and I actually hope to be going back to Memphis in January of 2020. So haven't done it in a while, but I decided with the new album and the new songs that I would compete again in the Washington, D.C. Blues Society Battle of the Bands in the solo category. Because the guys that played in my band, they all live in Boston. I would consider them my band and book gigs with them as my band if we lived in the same city.
Right.
But I'm in the process of trying to put a band together to get out there and actually play some electric gigs. In the meantime, I'm still performing solo acoustic Piedmont and Delta blues originals and covers, because when you play a 3-hour gig, I have enough originals to probably play for 2 hours, but when I'm playing a gig, people are always coming to see me to hear me play Robert Johnson or Blind Willie McTell or Reverend Gary Davis or Charlie Patton or Son House or something like that. That's become part of my repertoire, that people, when they come to see me, they know they're going to hear these classical blues songs. So, unless you're Buddy Guy, if you're playing in a blues club, you're going to play Mustang Sally and Walkin' Blues and Hesitation Blues or whatever.
Yeah.
So and I got no problem with that because I love all those songs.
Yeah, I mean, just when you hear Mustang Sally, you can do Mustang Sally. That comes to, all that. The music and the karma, and like you were saying, all these things we're doing here is making the world a better place in our little ways.
That's right.
I say.
And that's right. That's ultimately it.
Ultimately, and all that, and Whiskey for Blood. Let's wrap a little bit about that one, and then talk a little about exactly where you're going this summer, where you're playing out, and we'll finish up the show. So tell us a little about the tune, and then we'll get into what's going on this summer. Whiskey for Blood.
Well, Whiskey for Blood is once again in continuing with the theme of how I wrote the songs for this album, except for the title song. Whiskey for Blood is another song that I wrote